Sam and Dean. Saying those two have been getting on Death's nerves for a while is an understatement. They died so many times, I wouldn't have even been surprised that there were signs in heaven saying, "Congratulations, you finally kicked the bucket for the last time." Ugh, gosh. But it's precisely because of all those endings that we need to talk about one of them. Dean's. Now, I'm likely not going to be saying anything revolutionary here, or anything that hasn't been said a million times over the last few years, but here it is. Dean's ending was undeserved. And no, I'm not saying that he should have been still kicking around at 70 before finally being laid to rest, but there was a chance for a final through line. A last reckoning with the consequences of one's actions. Because, let's be fair, Dean had made a lot of enemies, but he also did a lot of good too. Yet, one unresolved injustice remained. One that was quietly taken from those of us who'd stuck through Supernatural, through smooth roads and incredibly bumpy ones. So what was Dean's deserved fate? Firstly, we have to actually look at how Dean went down in the first place.
Dean!
No, not that one.
Dean!
Or that one.
Who wants Chinese?
Or that one. Let's skip ahead to the end, shall we? Ah, here we go. That's right, vampires. And a piece of rebar sticking out of a support beam. Feels a bit familiar, doesn't it? Oh, that's right, Alistair when he impaled Castiel the same way before trying to exorcise him back to heaven. Funny how that got tied back in. You can tell that they were trying to create a connection between Dean's final death and the beginning of his journey, bringing back Jenny from one of Sam Dean's earliest hunts. And for that, I do commend the creators, but let's be fair, there was a better option. Jenny was turned at the very beginning. Her nest was destroyed, she was left alone, yet survived all this time, 15 years, only to be decapitated by Sam from behind. But that's kind of the point of Supernatural, isn't it? After season 1, monsters took a major backseat. They were downgraded to second or third tier threats. Back then, you needed clever ways to kill them. Specific rituals, rites, lore, not just decapitate and toss them in a wood chipper. Even in the later years, when alternate universe of Michael was enhancing monsters with angel grace, simply enough his own, they still had the same vulnerability. Despite everything, decapitation still did the trick. Monsters became inconveniences. Even the Leviathans, who were supposed to be terrifying, got treated with very little gravitas.
I'm gonna really enjoy eating you. Right down to that hat.
I said shut up.
And then we're gonna eat everyone you ever said hello to.
Such a mess. So, I understand wanting to bring a person from the beginning to the end, a way to restore a sense of continuity that had been lost. But even then, there was still a better option, at least for Dean, because while Jenny was unfinished business, there was still a sin, a grave one that Dean needed to face. Now, what the hell am I possibly talking about? What sin could there actually be? Sam Dean had faced down every monster, every crisis, everything, and won. They defeated Chuck. Jack became the new Unity. So what's left to bring up that hadn't been done before? Well, here it is.
Maybe in a year, maybe 10. But eventually the other shoe will drop. It always does. Sorry.
To those of you who are unaware, it looks like Dean is killing some random monster. Same old, but that would be a fallacy. Her name was Amy Pond, and she was a kitsune, a rare species in Supernatural that fed on the pituitary gland. Without it, they die. Why is this important? Well, that's the wrong question. It's not about why, it's about who. Now imagine you're a 10-year-old boy. Your mom pulls you out of school, drives you to the motel you guys are living at. She's anxious. You don't understand what's happening. She tells you to stay in the car just for a minute, but time passes. Too long. You go to check on her and you find the door wide open and a strange man driving a knife into her chest. She's dead. And then the man looks at you and asks, "Have you killed anyone?" When you say no, he doesn't comfort you. He threatens you and says that if you ever do, he'll come back for you. Fear fills your chest, but is soon quickly replaced by rage. And without even thinking, you respond,
"The only person I'm gonna kill
is you.
That rage never leaves. For the next 7 years, it becomes a fire in your gut. Because Dean Winchester didn't just kill your mom. He did the same thing Azazel did to him, to Sam, to John. Yet Dean, so callous, so self-righteous, couldn't see that he was creating a hunter for the same reason his own family became hunters. Despite the circumstance, despite Amy killing only to keep her son alive, Dean didn't care. He let Jacob live that day, not just because he wouldn't kill a child, but deep down, I think Dean knew what he did was wrong. And maybe, just maybe, he would have welcomed the idea of Jacob coming back. The two of them fighting, and the bear hunter winning. Over the course of Supernatural, we've seen the brothers' bond make all the difference. Their mistakes often come back to haunt them directly or indirectly. And for the threads left dangling, there was usually a satisfying payoff waiting. Some may say this idea happened already with Cole Trenton, a former Marine turned Dean Hunter after Dean killed his father. On the surface it works, but thematically it doesn't hold. We never saw the original act, and Cole's father had already become a monster at that time, and as a result the through line is very weak. It's not the same. Others bring up Jesse Turner, the Antichrist, but Jesse's story ended when he left for Australia. His powers were tied to Lucifer, and without Lucifer, Jesse was never really a threat. His arc was about potential, not consequence. But Jacob not delivering the final blow to Dean? That might as well be a crime. No random vampire should have gotten that kill. No piece of rebar in a barn. It should have been Jacob. I know, he wasn't too young. In season 14, Alt Michael was out there enhancing monsters with grace, and Jacob probably would have been about 16, more or less. Old enough, knowing to be there. There's actually a way to go about this, where they could have thematically put this. Picture it. Alt Michael's experimenting, trying to get the right mix of grace and monster. There are fight clubs, monsters battling for the chance at power, and among them a young man, quiet, focused, and furious. He gets chosen. He gets a little bit too much juice, maybe, but he doesn't disintegrate like the others. His will, fueled by one goal, is stronger. Maybe Michael even messes with his mind, convinces him the body he's in isn't actually Dean's, or that it's all symbolic. Regardless, Jacob would become the first true success in Michael's experiments. Kitsune with angelic grace. But every other attempt fails, not because their bodies couldn't handle it, but because their minds were not strong enough. And Jacob's was. Then comes the war of creation. Jacob disappears, returned only later by Jack. And as a result, Jacob continues his mission. He watches, he waits, he hones his abilities, and maybe even starts gathering some monsters. Maybe even those vampires, maybe even Jenny herself. Jenny can still die at Sam's hands, but Jacob confronts Dean. It wouldn't be a piece of rebar, it wouldn't be an accident. Dean would rip the mask off mid-fight and see Jacob, and just for a moment, there'll be a second of hesitation, and that's all it'll take. Jacob's claws extend, and Dean is disemboweled in front of Sam. Sam screams. Jacob leans in and whispers, "This is for my mother." And he escapes, or Sam kills him. Either way, the circle closes, and the thread is cut. The sin is resolved. The finale showed the reinforcement of the new rules. One life only. Mistakes come back to haunt you. No more deals, no more divine resets. Even though they knew the new god, there was no favoritism anymore. Dean's death came suddenly, and sure, it was impactful, but it was also mundane, ordinary. Something that could have happened to anyone, and maybe that was the point. But that's not Sam and Dean Winchester. They didn't survive everything just to slip and fall into the end. They were warriors, heroes, brothers. They had killed angels, demons, and monsters, even other hunters. But they always came back because Chuck cheated the system. But here, where it really counted, Dean didn't need grace or second chances. He needed consequence. It should have been Jacob, because Jacob is Dean's true child. A hunter forged by his own actions. A beast that will one day descend into purgatory to join his mother. But until that day, Jacob deserved to be the one to give Dean peace with his journey done.
Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.